Alrighty. So my first question to you is, how are you feeling? Are you afraid that you're not going to be able to find a committed and loving partner? Are you dreading the dating process, as we all are, especially during COVID in 2020 to 2021? And are you concerned that the dating pool is just non-existent? Like there aren't quality people out there that you can actually find? Are those some of your concerns? And again, feel free to respond in the chat. Now, I am going to warn you, if you've ever been on any of these types of presentations, that there is a significant delay, and I've timed it. It's about 2 minutes. So I apologize if I do not respond in an extremely timely fashion, but please feel free to engage with each other and engage with me in the chat. So again, how are you feeling? So we're going to go over the topics and what we're going to discuss in this training so that you are prepared and you know exactly what you are looking for. So the first thing we're going to discuss is how you can self-reflect on your missteps. Meaning, for most of you, you've been in at least one relationship or situationship. And for many of us, we may be disillusioned to think that the relationship went wrong all because of them. But what I'm going to impart on you today is that it's not all because of them. And something, even if it's the smallest thing, something had to do with your own behavior, your own belief system, your own expectations. So we're going to do some self-reflection on your own missteps, because the only person that we can control is ourselves. We're going to talk about how you can build yourself up so that you are the catch versus you trying to do the catching. We're then going to sit back and sit down and talk about how we can allow love back into our lives. And then lastly, we're going to finish up with literally, how do you find that partner? How do you find that mate? Because what you may have noticed is the first 3 steps talks about you and your inner work. But then the last 2 are going to talk about, well, after you've done the inner work, how are you literally going to find this person? And then next steps. Okay, so the first question is, well, who the hell are you, right? Who is Allison? Who is she to be trying to impart this information on the masses? What is her level of experience? What the hell does she know, right? So I am Allison Wellington, Mrs. Allison Wellington. I have 10 years of counseling experience. I have a master's degree in mental health counseling. I'm a certified relationship coach. And lastly, I am a newlywed. So I have been married for the last 5 months, and it has been amazing. So before we really jump into the content, this is something that I need from you. This is something I need from you. This is something I need from you. I need you to take action. If you are on my email list, if you follow me on social media, you probably have some insight to the way that I think and the expectations that I have for me, myself, my friends, and even you guys, my audience. And my expectation is always that you take action, whatever action that may be. We're not sitting back. We're not cowering. We're not saying I'm giving up. Whatever it is that you decide to do in your life, and of course, particularly when it comes to relationships, I need you to take action. So that is the promise I expect from you. So I'm asking you now in the comments, I need you to raise your hand, give me a thumbs up, give me some kind of positivity emoji so that I know that you promise to use the information I'm going to give you and I'm going to impart on you, and I need you to take action, whatever action that may be. Are you with me? All right, I see some hands raised. Good, good, good. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, well, why do I need to take action right now? Like, I'm going to take action, Allison, I promise, because you're crazy about taking action. That's all you talk about. Take action, take action. So why do you need to take action now? Well, let's be honest, right? So if you are a woman in particular who is on this training right now, who's listening to this training right now, who's watching this training right now, and if you are in my age bracket, which is in my 30s, biologically, time is not on our side. And this is not in an effort to scare you, or this is not in an effort to pressure you to jump right into dating if you feel like you're not ready. This is not in an effort to pressure your partner into marriage or to having children. This is a biological fact that is undeniable. And God, don't strike me down, but he did this, and it is Mother Nature. And so we just have to face the fact that biology is not on our side if you are in your 30s, if you are in your 40s, and you want to have children. Now, if you don't want to have children, or you're past the child rearing ages, then okay, you don't have that pressure. There are other pressures, but you don't have the biology one. But if you're like me and you're in your 30s, you're creeping towards your 40s, you're in your 40s and you want to have children, then biology is not on your side. And so this is why it is imperative that you take action. And then next, to be honest, the pool is not as full as we would like it to be. And every day, somebody's getting wifed up. Every day, somebody's getting a new boyfriend. Every day, somebody's getting a new girlfriend. Every day, somebody's getting married. Every day, somebody's getting pregnant and having a baby, which means that the most desirable men or the most desirable women are slowly but surely getting pulled from that pool. So the more time that we take to take action means the less opportunity. Now, I'm not saying that it's a lost cause, but we want to have as many opportunities as possible and don't want to feel like we're settling, right? So that means that we should take action immediately so that we can find that mate. Again, why is it the time? Besides biology, besides the fact that the pool is shrinking as we get older, again, that is a fact, right? I know one of the biggest benefits, and it may sound silly, but one of the biggest benefits that I have with being married, especially to my husband, is that I have someone I can rely on. When the car gets a flat, when I want to buy something I probably shouldn't buy, when I have a tough day at work, there is someone that I can always turn to who is going to be there for me. And that is just an amazing element of my life that I could do without. So it's still the time, because it must be frustrating to not have that go-to. Now, we have our girlfriends, we have our parents, we have whoever, but it's not the same thing. The level of accountability isn't the same. If one of my girlfriends calls me, I said, sis, I gotta go. I gotta go. I can't talk. I know, I'm sorry you had a rough day, but I can't talk. My husband can't hang up the phone on me when I say I had a rough day. That's not an option. So not only does he want to be there for me, but he's obligated to. And then that's one of the benefits of having that lifelong partner. And then lastly, if you're also like me, a high quality woman, then you want to build an empire. You want to have the properties, and you want to have the businesses, and you want to have residual income, and you want to make money while you sleep. And you have all these ideas about stocks and investments and all these great things, which I'm confident that you could do on your own. I'm not saying that you couldn't do it on your own, but why would you not want to do it twice as fast as you could if you had an appropriate mate? Why would you not want to do it with someone who aligns with your ideology? Why would you not want to do it with someone who can throw in different ideas and help you see a different perspective? Having that partnership to build that empire, to build that legacy, to have that family lineage is unmatched. And even though I'm an advocate for loving yourself first, let's get through the loving ourselves first so we can find that match, because life is worth living more when we have someone to share it with. Okay, so this training is for you and if you don't meet any of these, then this training isn't for you, and then you can exit, and I still love you, and you can unsubscribe to my emails, and it's okay, but still follow me on Instagram. Okay, so this training is for you if you are looking for a committed relationship. The title, The Partner You Deserve, right? This training is for you if you're the type of person who may self-sabotage your relationships. You get worried, things are going too well, he's too nice, she's too nice, so I'm going to throw a monkey in this, a wrench in the, whatever the expression is, throw that in there and mess things up, right? So that I'm not too invested, so that if things do go wrong, that I'm not heartbroken because I destroyed it before it could even be solid. This training is for you if you date the same types of toxic people over and over and over again. And then you're realizing, I've had 3 situationships in a row and this person doesn't want to commit. What's wrong? I've had 3 people who all try to take advantage of me. Is it the energy that I'm exuding? The short answer is yes. Is it something I'm doing wrong? partial, the answer is yes, right? This training is for you if you are afraid to love again. So you've been heartbroken and you don't want to put yourself out there. And so you've built this wall, and you may have found some quality people, but they may have been turned off by you. And you've done this on purpose because you are afraid to put yourself out there again. And lastly, this training is for you if you are ready to put in the work. If you don't want to put in the work, you can press X. It's okay. I still love you. But this is not a training that's going to say you are amazing and you are perfect and God has a man waiting for you. All you have to do. No. The search and the work and the effort comes from you first to make sure that you are properly vetting these gentlemen or ladies or whoever that you may be into, that you have done the work to make yourself the best quality person you can be so you can attract that mate. And then we're going to get into some more details in a minute. I'm kind of jumping ahead. Okay. So what are the expectations? By the end of this training, you're going to be able to analyze your own personal shortcomings in relationships. Remember, I said that no matter what, even if the person we were dating was a sociopath, there was something that we could have done differently to change the way the relationship ended, or maybe not even started in the first place, right? There's some onus. We got to take some responsibility in the decisions that we've made. We are going to brainstorm an action plan that's going to make you more desirable. Remember, I talked earlier about making you the catch instead of you doing the catching. And more importantly than ever, that you are repelling unqualified people. That is imperative. We have to know how to repel people. Now, you may think, well, Allison, I came here for you to teach me how to find somebody. How are you now telling me that a lot of the work is repelling? And I still stand by that. A lot of the work is to repel the wrong people. We don't want to waste your time, your effort, your money, your anything in the wrong person. And again, going back to biology, we don't want to waste that time. So we have to make sure that you are learning the necessary techniques to repel the unqualified people so the qualified people can come to the surface. And then by the end of this training, I need you to be able to gain confidence in your ability to find the partner you deserve. I hope you're taking notes because we're about to jump in. If you follow the steps that I'm providing to you in this training, you will have more confidence in your ability to find the partner you deserve. Trust me. Okay. So you want to find this loving, committed, fulfilling partnership, right? And you deserve it because you are a good person. And so why would you not deserve to have a partner who you can share your life with, who you can build that legacy with, that you can have longevity with, right? Like, why would you not deserve that? And let me tell you something, for some of y'all who are out here, who's hearing my voice, you think, oh my God, am I just asking for too much? Like, maybe I just need to lower my standards because I have these standards and I can't find anybody. And it's better that I'm with somebody than nobody. Like, am I asking for too much? No, you're not asking for too much. By the end of this training, you're not asking for too much. We're going to talk about how you can make sure that what you say that you're looking for is actually what you need and what will fulfill you and make you happy, and is not surfacey. But you looking for love and commitment is not asking for too much. We'll talk about the standards in a second. So you have some fears, and it would be unintelligent of me to ignore your fears because they're legitimate. And even if you feel that maybe they're not legitimate, they're your fears. You're not going to be able to conquer them unless we face them full on, right? So some of your fears are that you're never going to find an equally yoked partner, that you'll have to, settle. You'll have to find someone who is beneath your standards or your expectations. You have a fear that the dating scene is too rough. Like, there are just not enough people out there. There's a lot of folks who are dishonest, who are looking to take advantage and waste your time. And so that's your fear. Like, you don't want to get involved in this dating scene. You have a fear that there aren't enough potential mates out there for us, right? Like, there's just not enough people. And again, some of you may be afraid to open up again, that you may have been in a long-term relationship and you really invested your full self into this person and it was unmatched. And now you're like, am I in a position, can I emotionally go through another breakup like that, another disappointment? And that's a legitimate fear to have. Some of you are afraid that you'll never have a family of your own. And that's some of the, not only the biological pressure, but the societal pressure. You have auntie and mommy and grandma, when are you gonna have a baby? When are you gonna bring home a baby? And again, you have these fears of, you know what? Oh, I'm 34, I'm 35, I'm 37, I'm 41. I really may never have that family of my own. Sometimes you feel ostracized. You're in a group chat with your friends and everybody else is talking about their husband and everybody else is talking about their wife and everybody else is talking about their second baby and daycare and the hustle and the bustle of getting the kids to and fro. And you're like the only one who doesn't share in that experience. And then if we take it to the extreme, some of you might be afraid that you're going to die alone. Like dating has not worked out for you, have been extremely unsuccessful, and you may legitimately die alone. I actually was out with a friend earlier today running some errands, and she was debating whether or not she wanted to get married. And she said to herself, but marriage is important to her, or having a long life partner is important to her because she has a pre-existing condition. She says, I don't want to have to go through that alone. I want a partnership. I want that longevity. And so that's a legitimate fear that we can't ignore. Right? And then what are some of these myths? What are the myths that some of us have about love? First of all, there's this myth about luck. Oh, you have to be lucky. Oh, I'm so lucky. Oh, she is so lucky. Let me tell you something. This thing does not have to do with luck. It has to do with strategy. It is strategy. It is not luck. It is not that, God bestowed Allison a husband. And so don't get me wrong, I'm highly favored, but it's not luck that allowed me to find my husband, right? And then there's this other myth about struggle love. And if you are on here listening and you're not familiar with struggle love, it's this ideology that women have to go through a struggle with a man and have to deal with foolishness and bad behavior and other women and maybe outside children and maybe even jail time and all kinds of wild sadness in order for him to finally mature, for us to be in love, in order for him to finally see your value, in order for him to finally know that you deserve X, Y, and Z. That is a myth. That is a myth. That is a myth. Okay, so here is the truth. The truth is here. Okay, the truth is that there is a solid methodology in order to find the love that you deserve, and I developed it. The solid methodology that I developed is called the SSS approach. The SSS approach, the SSS approach. Okay, so what are these three S's? The first step in the SSS approach is called self-reflection. Okay, so we need to self-reflect on exactly where we went wrong in our former relationships. And the reason why we have to do this self-reflection is because if we do not come to the realization of where we went wrong in our former relationships, we are bound to make the same mistakes. We're going to choose the wrong people. We're not picking up on the same red flags. And then we either blame them or blame God or blame society for things that we have control over. So the first S in the SSS approach, if you're taking notes, the first S in the SSS approach is self-reflection. We have to look in the mirror. We have to journal. We have to have honest conversations with friends that we trust and really come to the realization of, you know what? I knew that he was a cheater when I met him because he was cheating on his girlfriend with me. I was foolish to think that he would treat me differently. We have to self-reflect and say something along the lines of, he never had a relationship with his sisters, his brothers, or his mom or dad. And when I asked him if he wanted to have children and he told me, I should have known that that meant no. Instead, I hoped I could change his mind. And now we're 5 years in, I want children, he doesn't, what do I do? We have to self-reflect on where we went wrong in our former relationships so we don't make the same mistakes over and over again. Next, we then have to step up. So now that we've done the self-reflection, we know where we've gone wrong. We now have to do the step up so that we can improve those behaviors. If the self-reflection is that you were argumentative, which was one of my self-reflecting things, right? Like, Allison, you're argumentative and that's problematic. Then how am I going to change being argumentative? If one of your self-reflections is that I had low self-esteem, he didn't do anything to me. I personally have low self-esteem. I don't feel really good about my body. I don't really feel good about my smile. I lack confidence in regards to my education or my career. And so I allowed that low self-esteem to eat at me and led me to believe that how could such a good person love me? And so I self-sabotage that relationship. That's the self-reflection. Now that I am aware of this, what am I going to do about it? That's the step up. And then now the final S in the SSS approach is the sit down, sit back. Now you know where you went wrong. You've done the internal work to correct those behaviors. Now you're in a position to sit back because you have created the best version of yourself. And then now we can start talking about where you find them. But before we start talking about where you find somebody, we need to correct our own behavior. And then once we've done that, we're now opening up the gates to allow love to flow back into our lives. Okay, so what's my story, right? You guys, I'm sure you're thinking like, okay, Allison, you have this SSS approach, you got your master's degree, but how did you develop this process? How did you do it? So it started with me, right? As I kind of indicated before, when I did my own self-reflection, I realized a couple of things. So before I was with my husband, I dated a gentleman, and this gentleman was either unable or unwilling to commit. And if you are on my email list, you already know this story, so I apologize, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Either unwilling or unable, right? Now, I dated this gentleman for 4 years, and when I got to year 4 and I realized that he was not, again, willing or able, and I don't know, and I really don't care, but he was not in a position to do anything that I asked in regards to showing a significant level of commitment. So a bank account, a house, a baby, marriage, nothing of the sort, right? And so I had to sit back and think to myself, how did I allow 4 years to pass and I received no significant indication or measure of a true commitment? What did I do? So the first thing I did was I ended that relationship because I ain't got time, right? That's number one. Then number 2 was my self-reflection. Where did I go wrong? And the number 1 area that I went wrong is that I was dating someone that I wasn't even compatible with. That's where it was, right? So I'm fly, you fly, we're gonna be fly together. And the relationships don't function and will not function in a significant way or in a successful way if the basis and the foundation is I'm fly, you're fly, we could be fly together, right? So we were not compatible. So now I have to do the step up. So why did I choose someone that I knew from the beginning was not compatible with me? And that means that I need to do some internal work about what my true values are. Are my values family and marriage and all those things, or are my values I'm fly, you fly, and we look good together, right? So now I need to reevaluate what really matters, which is what I did. Once I did that, so now we did the self-reflection, we did the step up, then we did the sit back or the sit down, right? Now I'm in a position where I know where I went wrong, I've corrected those behaviors, and now I need to get down to what I'm really looking for at this age. Like, what is imperative and what do I need in order to be happy and fulfilled in my relationship? And once I did that, I went back on the dating scene and immediately I started dating my husband. Immediately. And there's no shame in that because, again, time is of the essence. And we're not here to waste time once you've done the internal work first. That's a cute picture of me and my husband. I just want to put that in the slide. I ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I just want to show y'all of us on our wedding day. Okay. So I know what you're thinking. All right, Allison, that's a cute story, but this is not erasing what I already know of 10 years of being on the scene, 5 years of being on the scene, and starting over sucks and dating sucks. And so that was cute. Thanks for the story. Haha. But it still sucks, right? So then what are we going to do about it, right? Because I know you're thinking I'm wasting my time and that's why it sucks. And I'm so tired of trying to avoid unqualified people and I don't want the drama. I'm just better off being by myself. I feel like that sometimes. I don't feel like that sometimes, right? When you're single. And I'm just going to have to just build this empire alone because I just can't find the right mate for me. But you are able to achieve it. And I'm going to explain how in a minute. You are able to find a worthy mate. you can have that family. And you don't have to build a life alone. You have the capability of doing this, right? You don't have to worry about that death is knocking on your door. I saw some of the comments in the chat, right? You don't have to, oh my God, I'm never gonna have kids. You don't have to, oh my God, I'm never gonna have this beautiful wedding day that I always dreamed of, right? This does not have to be your reality. Okay, again, with these myths, I'm knocking it out your head. This is not luck, it's not happenstance. You didn't walk down the street, you dropped your books and he saw you, he helped you pick up the books. This is not a movie. You don't have to worry about struggle love. You don't have to worry about settling. You have the capability of doing the internal work first, and then you find your partner. And this is how. I know that you have a choice in the matter. I know it's not luck. I know it's not exclusively prayer, right? And this is how I know that you have a choice. You have a choice because you chose your education. You chose where you want to go to school. You did the research on your major, you studied that major, you did the research on a career path that was going to be successful and fulfilling to you. So if you were able to make every successful decision that you've made in your life, then why would it be that you could not do the same thing to find a partner? Every other decision you've made as a high quality woman who is in this training right now has been pretty much successful. We always have our fallings, right? Like maybe you change majors or you change schools, but relatively speaking, you have found success in every other element of your life. Your friends are amazing. You don't deal with toxic foolishness. You have that career. You have every other element, your credits together, your savings together, your 401k, you are popping, right? So if everything else you have control over that you've been able to plan and organize and strategize around, why would you not be able to do the same thing for a partner? And I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Allison, the difference is I got my education on my own. I got my degree. My degree has my name on it. The difference is that I worked for my career and I was able to get up the ladder. But the difference is that with a partner, I depend on someone else in order to have that partnership, in order to have the long-term partner, in order to have the marriage. I need somebody else. And so I know that I can get it done because I have a history of getting it done, whatever it may be. But when you're talking about a partner, that relies on somebody else. But let me tell you, there is nothing on this earth that you have achieved already that you have 100% done on your own. Someone has played a part, either as the protagonist or the antagonist in your story. You will tell me, well, Allison, no, my name is on my degree and my name only. But you're telling me, how many times did you go to the financial aid office and somebody looked out for you? How many times did a professor give you an extension on a paper? How many times did a department not have the courses that you need and it delayed you? So people play a role in every success and every failure that you have. So in all the successes that you can list long for me, don't tell me that you 100% did it on your own, because you didn't. Someone played a role, sometimes a helpful role and sometimes a role that kind of hindered you. But nonetheless, everything that we do, unless you live in the Amazon, right? Like everything that you do has been impacted by somebody else. So don't tell me that, oh yes, I was successful in these things, but it's because I earned them. But with a partner, it's different. It's not. Everyone has played some kind of role in someone else's life. So you do have a choice and you do have control and you can get this done. Okay, so let me tell you about one of my clients. Okay, so one of my clients was really into guys who she defined herself, which I agree, was out of her league. She would only want to date guys that were literally models, only want to date guys that were 6'4" or taller and an actor and owned his own loft in Manhattan and what she realized is either one, she was single a lot because she didn't attract those types of guys, or two, when she did date those kind of guys, they usually were extremely good looking but had no other substance whatsoever. And so the situationship, because it wouldn't even make it to a relationship, the situationship would fall apart every single time. Right? So what did we do? We went through the SSS report. We had to self-reflect. What are you doing wrong? I'm dating these guys that are literally gorgeous. And again, her own words, out of my league. I'm trying to get their attention. Most times I don't. The few times I do, they take advantage of me. They use and abuse me. that is where I am going wrong. That is the self-reflection. So that's the work that we do, right? Me and my clients. Then, okay, now we need to step up. So what can you do to change this behavior? So she said, well, I think, this was, again, me working with her, but she has the answers. I don't have the answers. I have the guiding questions and she has the answers. So she said, well, I think one of the things that causes me to go after these extremely attractive men is that I'm trying to, in her words, like even out what she finds is unattractive about her. Right. So she feels like if she can find this really attractive guy, it will kind of make up for what she feels like she's lacking. And one of the things that really bothered her was her smile and her weight that she lacked confidence about. Like, okay, girlfriend, well, if that's what you feel like is the reason that's attracting you to these really good looking guys, then we need to work on those things. We need to build that self-esteem. So what did she do? She literally got braces. Like, that's the first thing that she did, because she knew that she just didn't feel very confident. So she felt like she was chasing after guys that she knew was unattainable because she knew she couldn't attain them, which means she didn't have to worry about rejection. I hope that that makes sense. It's a little complicated, but she would purposely go after people that she knew wouldn't commit so they could never leave her, instead of working on her confidence so that she knows that she's worthy. And she had the internal, she had the intelligence, she didn't feel good about the external. So she did that external work so she could feel more confident, so that she could approach the type of guys who would be interested in her so that she could have that longevity. And then once we realized what the crux of the problem was, now that she's built that confidence, now she can sit down. Now she can sit back. Now she can reopen herself up to love, to relationships, to realistic dating again. Okay. So we also had to talk about those priorities, right? And when we were doing that self-reflection, like, why is the fact that he has to be a published model a priority to you in terms of longevity in a relationship? And so these are some of the questions that I asked her. Okay. So in that self-reflection, it's, again, her thing was purposely pursuing gentlemen that she knew wouldn't commit. That way she wouldn't have to worry that they don't commit. She's, again, self-sabotaging behavior. From there, right, she says, I need to work on my external. Like, she's very bright and a very sweet person, but she needs to do some of that external work so she can feel more confident about herself. I thought she was beautiful, but she didn't feel that way. And what I think and what others think don't matter. What you think about you is what matters. So she started to put in the work in order to become and to give a wonderful first impression on the external. Right? So I chose this particular photo because this woman's smile is just radiating, but that's exactly what my client did. She jumped out the window in her 30s and got braces. And let me tell you how genius that was, because that was right in the beginning of COVID. And so she was wearing a mask and is still wearing a mask, and half the world doesn't even know that she has braces in the first place. So she's really winning. Right? And then now it's the sit down. We're sitting back. You see how confident this woman is? Cellulite and all. I don't know if you peeped that on the left-hand side there. And she is prepared to be on the dating scene because she knows her worth and she's worked on the things to become the best version of herself. Okay? We're not chasing after nobody. If you're into dudes, we're not chasing after dudes. If you're into chicks, we're not chasing after chicks. We're not chasing after anyone. That is not our responsibility. We are the catch because we've done the internal work to become better versions of ourselves, the best versions of ourselves, right? But I'm sure you still have some questions, right? You're still thinking, all right, yeah, that's good for her. I'm so happy she found somebody good. There's still no quality mates, Allison. And I don't know if I have the ability to start over, Allison. And I still feel like there's a lack of control over my love life, Allison. So what are you going to do for me, right? You doubt that you have it in you to try again. Like, can I do this again? I just left this guy after 5 years. I just left this guy after 7 years. Do I have the ability to do this again? Right? You're thinking to yourself, do I even really want kids? Like, I know I always said I want kids, but I'm 39 now, and maybe I can convince myself that I don't even want children in order to deal with the fact that I feel like I'm never going to get them, right? Like I'm going to convince myself, oh, I ain't want it anyway. When you did, but it feels better for you to do the rejection versus someone or something doing the rejecting towards you. Okay? And you're still hanging on to these myths that you don't have control and you're too busy in your career, you don't have time, and oh, maybe something might be wrong with you, and this is why, this is the circumstance that you're in. Okay? But again, I'm going to lead you right back to the truth. You can craft the life you want. You can craft the life you want. You've already done so in every other element of your life. You can craft the life you want. You have the ability to manifest what you want in your life. And when I use the word manifest, I'm not talking about you pray on it sometimes. Like, I'm talking about you really put in the work to be the co-author with whatever higher being you may believe in to your life. You are writing your life with that higher being. You are manifesting it. You are speaking it with your mouth out loud, exactly what you want. You're putting in the work in order to gain it. And so the universe or the higher being is bringing it right back to you. That's how it works. It's not writing it down sometimes, maybe, and then you skip a mantra today, and then you skip an affirmation tomorrow, and then you didn't write in your journal in 30 days. Like, it is not only writing, it's also saying, and it's also putting in the work, which is what I do with my clients. I hold them accountable so that they know exactly what they want in a mate, and then they're keeping those things on the top of mind. So when they're doing their search, they can find him. Okay? You do have control. Stop it. You do have the time. Stop it. You're choosing not to make the time, and you're using that as an excuse because you're afraid of failure. And there is nothing wrong with you. Okay? Let me tell you about another client I had. She's a doctor. Beautiful, clearly highly intelligent. This ain't her, but clearly highly intelligent. And she had a thing about projects. That was her thing. So her first problem after we did self-reflection was that she continued to choose mates who were unwilling to commit. And then you're going to say to yourself, well, Allison, how does she know that they were unwilling to commit? Like, how can you avoid someone who is unwilling to commit? I'm going to give you the quick answer now, and then that's coming up as well. The way that you know is by vetting your mates. It's by having in-depth conversations. It's about having targeted questioning from the beginning, from your dating profile. You're asking questions and you're inquiring, right? And it's believing people when they tell you what they tell you. When they tell you what they tell you, you believe them. That's how you're able to vet someone to see whether or not they're a commitment type of person or not. This client that I'm speaking about, she chose mates based on potential and not reality. And let me tell y'all, in my vocabulary, potential is a curse word. We do not date people off potential. We do not date people off potential. We do not date people off potential. We date people based on who they are in the moment. And if they grow and develop to be better versions of themselves, more loving, making more money, being more beautiful or more handsome, then fine. But we are accepting folks for who they are right now, because if you are dating someone off of potential and not reality, then what may happen is that they never rise to the occasion, and then you mad. You mad because you held them accountable to a standard that you created in your mind. You date folks based on who they are in the moment. Again, she chose projects, people that she could build up. And I don't know about y'all, again, if you're in your 30s or 40s or older, I'm not raising anybody else's son. That is not my obligation. My obligation is to, when I have my kids, to raise my kids up. I'm not raising anybody else. So we're not choosing projects of we're going to fix him and this is what we're going to do. Now, I'm not talking about growing and developing together as human beings. I'm talking about raising other people's kids, and I'm going to help him get his driver's license, and I'm going to help him get. We're not choosing projects and then mad when, again, they don't live up to the expectations. And the last thing in our self-reflection was that she hated the idea of starting over. So she would date people that she knew was an inappropriate match. Again, knowing they're an inappropriate match because she was afraid to start over with somebody else. Like, the devil that you know is better than the devil that you know, that you don't. However, the devil that you know is wasting your damn time and your eggs are drying up. So guess what? We're going to try the devil that we don't, and he may be an angel. How about that? Okay. So now that we've gone through the SSS approach, now you know about how to self-reflect, to know where you've gone wrong, You're correcting those behaviors. You're correcting those attributes. You're correcting whatever it may be. That's the step up. And then now, once you are the best version of yourself, you can sit back and allow love back into your life. Now, here's the juice, y'all. How do I find the partner I deserve? How do I find this person? So the first thing that I do with my clients, they have pre-homework. And the first thing they have to do is create 3 SMART relationship goals, like a SMART goal, right? It needs to be whatever SMART stands for, you know, reasonable, attainable, timely, measurable, blah, blah, blah. So that's the pre-homework. We need to know exactly what your goals are before you even get into a session, because I need you to know what you're looking for. And then from there, once we get into our first session, the next thing we do is we set the 5 non-negotiables. If you've been following me at all, you already know this speech, and I'm going to give it again anyway, because it is imperative that you understand. You must have the 5 non-negotiables on paper, in a notepad, on the top of your brain. We write it every single night while we're in sessions together. You have to know the 5 things that you are looking for in a mate. Yes, I said 5. I'm gonna wait for the comments to catch up, because I know somebody's gonna say something different. 5, I can't have 10. 5. 5. The reason why I say 5, and on a low between me and you, if it's 6, it's not the end of the world. But the reason why I say 5 is because we cannot have a laundry list of what we're looking for, because perfection does not exist. And guess what? We don't have the laundry list that some unrealistic other person is looking for either. So we have these 5 non-negotiables. These are 5 qualities that we are looking for in our mate. That is an obligation. They must have it. And the way that we use this is that we write it down in our journals every single night or every morning, whatever, right? We write down those 5 non-negotiables. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think about what my 5 non-negotiables was when I went through the process. And my husband meant all 5, by the way. Attractive, hardworking, affectionate, family-oriented, and I can't remember the last one, but I had my 5 non-negotiables too that I wrote down back in 2012, okay? And before I began dating, I asked questions around those 5 non-negotiables. And again, it's imperative that you write it down every night, because you want it on the top of your mind. So that means when you're on the dating apps, when you meet someone, I don't know, during COVID, but maybe like a friend of a friend, you're already thinking, all right, I'm going to ask him questions because I have my 5 non-negotiables. One of mine, Allison, is family oriented. Oh, hey, it's a pleasure to meet you, Andrew. Can you tell me about your family? Like, tell me about your family. Oh yeah, I have my mom, my dad, and my sister, and my family. We have dinner every Sunday. Family oriented. We're extremely close. Me and my sister fight a lot, but we really love each other. We're only 2 years apart. So, you know, we have that sibling thing, but we're very close. And do you want to have children? Absolutely. Now, a couple weeks later, we are, pre-COVID, we're at an event. There's kids there. What's happening? He's picking up the kids, spinning the kids around. All the adults are elsewhere playing games. Again, because I'm writing down my 5 non-negotiables. I know exactly what I want in a mate. It's on the top of my mind. So then when I meet a potential mate, I'm asking those very targeted questions that he doesn't know that I have a checklist, right? But I'm asking very targeted questions so that he is able to show me, or I'm able to test whether or not he has my 5 non-negotiables. This might be news to him. Love you, babe. But he met all 5, and that's why things worked out. And again, we can't have 20 and 30 non-negotiables. That's not practical. It's not realistic. You won't even remember them. You boiled yourself down to what are the 5 things I absolutely cannot live without. And secondly, it is imperative to have these 5 non-negotiables because you need to know what you're looking for. And this is the same corny comparison I give to everybody who I ever have this conversation with, including my clients. I say to them, you're looking for a pair of headphones. You don't know that they're white. You don't know that they're cordless. You don't know that they fit right into your ear and they go in a little white case and you can charge them. If you don't know what the headphones look like, how are you ever going to find them? You're going to be tearing the house up, looking for a black one with a cord, one that doesn't charge, one that plugs. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're never going to be able to find it. So that is an obligation. That is the first thing we do in our sessions. You have to come up with your 5 non-negotiables. And it must be written every night. I hope y'all taking notes. So the next thing we do is we start challenging your belief systems, right? This is a part of the self-reflection piece. What are some of the preconceived notions that are impacting your life, that is holding you back? I had a client who said, oh, well, you know, I don't think that I'm ready to date because I need to live on my own first before I can live with somebody else. Who told you that? I asked her that. I said, who told you that? Oh, I don't know. I just figured. So she says until she has moved out of her parents' house, she is not even going to consider dating, because she believes that she has to live out on her own before she can live with someone else. I said, sis, when you start dating, you're not even moving in with them yet. Like, that may not be a step that happens for 6 months, a year, or 2 years. Who's to say that you can't start dating now and then work on moving out if it's really important to you that you kind of have that individuality and that opportunity to be alone? But you're not going to start again. What are we open with? Time is of the essence. We're not going to start the dating process once we're in the new space. Start now, continue working towards your goal of having your own space. And then perhaps by the time you find a mate and you decide to be committed and you decide you want to live together, now it's even Stevens and you've had that year to live alone. This other thing, these preconceived notions, these beliefs, swiping beliefs. Oh, I'm a woman of power on my job. I have a high position, so men are intimidated by me, right? As this like sweeping belief. I need some evidence. I need some facts, right? I need someone to show me the proof that men, and notice it didn't say some men are intimidated by powerful women. I'm looking for the evidence. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but what I would say is that if a man, not men, if a man or a man or 2 men or 3 men or even 5 men have been intimidated by you, there are literally billions of men on this earth. And if you live in a major city like I do in New York City, there are millions of men. So for you to make a sweeping statement that men are intimidated by you is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And also, side note, a lot of times when women say that men are intimidated by them, it's more to do with their behavior than it has to do with their position on the job or what have you. But that's for another day, okay? So after we've done the SSS approach, right? So we're delving in, actually during, we're delving in, we're coming to the realization of where we went wrong in our former relationships. We're working on building our self-esteem. We're doing the work, right? We still need to, again, begin the dating process because time is of the essence. We are not in a position to really do 6 months worth of coaching and a year worth of therapy. Like, let's get the ball rolling relatively. We can multitask. We have the capability, right? So we need to optimize the dating profile. So let's take some notes on this, ladies, and any gentlemen who may be here, okay? How are you going to optimize your dating profile? So number 1, you need to know exactly what you're looking for in a mate. That goes back to the 5 non-negotiables. You have to know exactly what you're looking for in a mate. So before you open up your Bumble account, before you go on Coffee Meets Bagel, before you pay to get on an app, because we're sifting through people who are looking for a hookup and we're not going on Plenty of Fish. Hope they never sue me if this video blows up and goes viral. You need to know exactly what you want in a mate before you even open up an account. And the reason is because you're going to use, after you've come up with the realization of what you want in a mate, you're going to use that to drive your bio. So you can't write your bio if you don't know what you're looking for, because you're using what you're looking for to write the bio. We're going to get more. So you know exactly what you want in a mate. Now you can open the profile. Now we can reactivate. Now we can pay for the updated subscription. You need clear photos of you and only you. You and only you, you and only you. This is how you optimize your dating profile. It needs to be you and only you for a couple of reasons. 1, you want to make sure that the person is swiping on you and connects with you and matches with you because they know that you're the one that they're looking at and not your cute sister who's sitting next to you. 2, it needs to be you and only you because you don't want them not to swipe because they saw you, but they saw your less attractive cousin and they thought the profile belonged to her. And then 3, it needs to be you and only you because it needs to be all about you. We don't want any comparisons. This is the comparison I like to give, right? I like to think I'm cute, right? Like I'm an attractive woman. I would like to say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 9. Maybe some may argue otherwise, but that's how I feel. I'm a 9. So if you were to see me on a profile, you would probably say, this lady is a 9. Yeah. Now, if I put a picture of me with Beyonce right next to me, now I done downgraded to an 8. And I look exactly the same, but when you have other folks in your profile, and next thing they outshining you, now it done graded their opinion of you, and we don't want that. So last time, clear photos of you and only you. I'm moving on. Your bio needs to be something that someone can read in 15 to 20 seconds. 15 to 20 seconds. Now, I'm not saying not to answer all the questions as folks continue down, like smoking or no smoking, dog or no dog, children or no children, but that immediate message cannot be paragraphs long, because guess what? Nobody's reading that. And if you are a woman who's trying to attract a man, men are not reading that. Your profile needs to grab them within 15 seconds. Targeted photos, we don't need 27 photos. Targeted, clear photos of you and only you, quick bio. Okay? And what you're saying in your bio is what you are looking for, not what you want to avoid. We speak in the positive. So in the bio, we're not saying, oh, I don't want anybody with kids, and I don't want nobody who used to be married, and I'm not looking for somebody to raise up, even though I did say that, but that was between me and you. I don't want, because guess what? You're coming across as a negative Nancy. Nobody wants to be around a negative Nancy. So you are not talking about the characteristics or the types of people that you want to avoid. You are talking for the types of people that you are looking for and describing yourself. So if you are a fun, loving person who wants to build a family, then you are saying in the bio, I'm looking for someone who's fun and I want somebody to create a family. You are using very targeted language to be sure that you are attracting the right types of people. But if you remember what I said about 45 minutes ago, you are repelling the wrong types. Okay. So after we do that, so we're talking about the process, right? So we did the SSS with self-reflection, we stepped up, we sat back. But during that, we're also working on the dating profile. In my sessions, we also talk about what's your love language. So we do a love language survey. It's important that you know how you want to be loved so that you can communicate that with other people. It's imperative that other people are aware of what you are looking for. And it's imperative that you find out what your partner wants too, so you can show them the love that they want and the way that they accept it. So there's no miscommunication. You don't want to be the person who's buying thousands of dollars worth of gifts because that's how you show love. And then your partner doesn't even care about gifts. All they really want is a hug and a kiss. Now you're having disagreements and you're not on the same page because you're not understanding what each other's desires are. Okay. And lastly, I believe it's lastly, we're going to see when I click the next slide. What we challenge are those lingering irrational fears. So remember before, I covered it like 4 times with y'all. We're going to keep covering it because we need to uncover it so that we can get over it. So that's one of the last things I do with clients. We go back, like, let's talk about these fears again. Do you really feel that you're going to die alone? Like, look at all the work that we've done. Okay, there's no way in the world that you are going to die alone. You live in a metropolitan. You are going to find a partner. Look at the internal work you've done. Look how much of a better person you are. Look at how targeted your profile is. Look how many people you've repelled. What the heck? This is why technology is not my friend. Resume share. Okay, good. So those lingering irrational fears is what we have to challenge, so that we can be sure that we're not leaving the sessions after our period of time together still having these concerns. Nah, we got to face it straight on. And you will know after we've gone through this process that you have the capability, you have the power, you have the strength, you have the skills in order to find this mate. Okay, so here's a testimonial from one of my clients. When I started this process, I went in with an open mind. My way wasn't working, so I said, let's try something new and different. Allison was professional and she listened to everything I said, and I felt this was a great decision. She helped me write down the characteristics I was looking for in a partner and made sure I was honest with myself. Each week, I looked forward to these sessions and especially look forward to what new tasks she had for us. I would definitely recommend this program because it provides insight we need. And from her experiences and training, she provided this for me. I wasn't dating prior to this program. And with Allison's help, I went on 4 dates during a pandemic, y'all. That's all from this program. Okay, another one. I want to give a huge shout out to you, Allison. This experience and journey has been lit. Today's date, he wanted to go early to enjoy the sun and nice weather. This was, I think, back in September. Brunch at Suede, a restaurant in Brooklyn, and then we walked the Brooklyn Bridge. This was in our private Facebook group. Okay, so right now you have a decision to make. There are two directions that you can go into. Okay, you can take everything that we've covered, because that is the outline of the program. You can take everything that I've shared and you can do your best to implement it. And I'm confident that you'll be able to implement some and there will be some change, right? I feel like, and I hope you guys can give me feedback that it's been like the information I've given you has been targeted and helpful that you can actually implement on your own, right? Or you have another option. And so your other option is to work with me. And the program that I have is called The Partner You Deserve. It's a group coaching program, and we meet over 8 weeks, once a week through Zoom like this. We use the SSS approach on top of the dating specifics that I offer in order to find the partner. And we also have a Facebook group that we use for support throughout session, so that folks know you don't have to wait till the next week to tell me about how amazing or how terrible your date was. And terrible dates are good. You learn a lot. Trust me. And after a while, you laugh. Okay. So what are some of the benefits of the program? I'm able to help clients clarify exactly what they want to mate so they can find that loving person that they deserve. So that goes back to the 5 non-negotiables, but then there's a real deep dive as to why these 5 are important. And then sometimes I'm able to negotiate some more important characteristics than what was written down, right? I was a person who was very shallow too. So no judgment. I help clients reflect on where they went wrong so they don't make the same mistakes over and over. It's not that easy just to look in the mirror and know where you went wrong. Sometimes you really need someone to push you and ask those guided questions so that you can come to a conclusion as to, you know what, sis, you were right, and this is what I did wrong, and this is how I can correct it, or help me, how do I correct it, right? I'm able to work with clients so we can co-create and optimize their dating profiles. They can attract the right mates and repel the wrong ones. We don't have time to waste, okay? We're building confidence so that the client feels prepared as they begin dating again with intention and with focus. Again, time is of the essence. And lastly, the program allows for us to work together so that we can emotionally and mentally prepare for committing to this new partner, right? Because it's not only about finding him or her, but then it's about, okay, well, this is the first time I really have someone who's amazing and we're a great match. Like, oh, what's the next step? Like, I'm a little nervous, right? So I get you through that so that you're emotionally and mentally prepared to be in this committed relationship so that you can have the family that you desire, so that you can have a lifelong partner you could depend on, so that you can build that legacy, right? And someone that you can share your dreams and your desires and your goals with. Okay, so who is this program not for? Because that's important too, right? So if you aren't interested or you're not ready for a committed relationship with one person, I don't even know why you came, but I love you, right? This program is not for you. This program is not for you if you're not prepared to face your fears and you're not prepared to undo your belief systems that have held you back in the past. This program is not for you if you aren't ready to take action and take accountability over your life and how it turns out, right? It doesn't turn out. We create that life. We co-create that life with the universe, higher being, God, what have you. And this program is not for anyone who thinks that all men or all women ain't, right? Like this, if you already have this pre-existing belief, then it's not gonna work. And it's okay, but it's not gonna work. Okay, so my calendar is open to you. The link is in my Instagram bio. It's directly on my website, alignwithallison.com, on my Facebook, on my Twitter. And so if you would like to get more details on the program, if you want to see if I'm an appropriate match for you in regards to helping you find that partner, if I want to see if you're an appropriate match, if you're somebody who's really to put in the work, then please connect with me for a free discovery call. We talk for 30 minutes about your particular goals, your particular desires, your particular issues, and we see whether or not we should work together moving forward so that I can help you find the partner that you deserve. I want to thank you for being here with me. I don't know how long we've been on, for like an hour and 10, an hour and 20. This has been my longest presentation. My throat a little dry. But thank you for being here with me. And I am now going to stop sharing the screen. I'm not the most tech savvy, so if I mess this up, I love y'all. But I'm going to now take your questions that are in the chat. So I guess I'll read it at a distance or pull up the chat somehow. Is this the way I pull up the chat? Or I got a cell phone that works too, if it turns around. Okay, so there's a lot of comments. I love y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna try to skip through to the questions. And if you have any additional questions, then go ahead and put it in the chat. And I am going to be here for as long as it takes for me to answer your questions. If your questions are in regards to dating specifically, about the program specifically, whatever it is that you would like to ask here on this public forum, don't forget it's public, then I will be here for as long as it takes. Hey, somebody says they love me. I love you too. Okay, so someone asked, what about the people, in a relationship with their career? Ms. Lila, you're gonna have to give me a little bit more clarity. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. Okay. Oh, Jalicia says, this is a good one. I was told the websites that you have to pay for have a better selection of men because people aren't playing games, don't want to pay. Absolutely. 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 When I work with my clients, there is no choice. They have to be on 2 paid apps. 2 dose have to be, it's a must. The paid, the free apps or the free versions of the apps are not worth your time or your effort. The free ones have folks who are blatantly looking for a hookup and want to make it clear as hell, and they don't care. Like, it's evident that all they want is a hookup. That's why they don't even want to spend $1 in order to get on an app, because why should they have to pay if they're not looking for longevity, right? Like, you get what you pay for. Or the paid or the unpaid versions of some paid apps don't allow you to really have full access to the profile. So again, the crux of our program is we don't have time. Time is of the essence. We have to act now, right? So if we don't have full access to the profile so that we can vet these people, then it's going to be quite difficult for us to do so if we don't have full access. So it is a must. You have to have paid profiles. I recommend 2, at least 2. All right, Tiandra says, other than dating sites, where can I go to meet people? So it's COVID. Realistically, my #1 practical recommendation are dating sites, because it's just, again, the most practical method for you to meet as many people as possible in a short period of time. Right? And we can't be so quick to just like keep swiping, like read the profile. I know that I said that folks only read 15, 20 seconds, but I'm talking to y'all. We're investing, and so read the profiles. I'm just being real. Like, we're not on the trains, we're not in mass transit, we're not in the coffee shops, we're not in the laundromat, we're not in the library, we're not in the elevator. Like, I'm asking you, like, where else would we meet them other than on dating apps? It's just the most practical method to use and the most efficient. Okay, Giselle asks, what's the age range for my clients? So my youngest client is 33 and my oldest client is 49. I primarily work with women 30 plus, but there's flexibility. I mean, there could be some women who are dedicated to finding their partner at 28 or 27, but relatively speaking, women tend to come to the realization that their methods are not working for them and they seek a pro 30 plus. Someone said, how do we know that he is ready to commit? To me, men marry people who are around them at the right time when they're ready to. Otherwise, we cannot force them. Absolutely, you cannot force anybody to do anything. And if you are forcing it, it won't work. It will not end well. It will end and it will not end well. So how do you know if someone's ready to commit? You are going, first of all, you're using paid apps. So you are less inclined to find people who are there for strictly hookups, because if they were there for a strictly hookup, they could go on a free app, they could go on Plenty of Fish, right? So by default, you've already eliminated, possibly, depending on where you live, hundreds of thousands of potential matches who are here only for the hookup, right? That's their purpose. That's #1. Paying for the app will help you. Secondly, it's going to be your series of questioning. So well, actually, let me take a step back. First of all, it's going to be your profile. In your profile, you're going to say things like, I believe in the sanctity of marriage. I am looking for a long-term mate. I would like to build a family. Like, that is the language that you are going to be using in your profiles. So you are going to repel plenty of guys who aren't here to play, or I'm sorry, plenty of guys who are here to play. And you're attracting the guys who are like, okay, I believe in the sanctity of marriage. Now, we didn't say I believe in getting married to you. We said that we believe in the sanctity of marriage. We believe in commitment. We want a long-term relationship. You are literally using that language. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Allison, I'm going to scare people off. And I'm going to say the same thing that I always say. If you watch any of my YouTube videos, good. That's what you want to do. You want to scare them off. You want to scare off anybody, quote unquote, scare off, or repel is the language I like to use. You want to repel anyone who is not on the same wavelength as you. If someone runs away because you say you believe in the sanctity of marriage, you didn't say, I believe that whoever I match to must marry me in 6 months. That's impractical and scary. You said you believe in the sanctity of marriage. You said you believe in building a family. You said you believe in looking for a long-term relationship. If they don't want that, it's good. We want to scare them off. So that's how we vet people for commitment. Now, there may be some folks that still sift through, right? Like, there may be somebody who doesn't get caught up in those traps, for lack of a better term. However, the way that we are going to ensure as much as we can that we are being matched to people who are just as serious as we are is, 1, paying for the dating app that we're on. 2, using targeted language in our profile. 3, when we're on our dates, when we're having just a text message, then leads to like a FaceTime of sorts, then might lead to a Zoom date, you're asking targeted questions so that you know that based on their responses that they are serious. Do you have any advice on healing from previous relationships before starting to date? Yes, Tanny, I do. I have an ebook on it. If you email me, because I took it off of my profile, I just had too many things on there. If you email me, I'll send you the ebook for free. Okay, so what's my email? info@alignwithallison.com. Just email me, hey, I'm the young lady from the chat, and I'll send you the ebook, and it will help. How do you know if your standards are too high and you in turn are dating out of your league? So one of the recommendations that I give about your standards is that your standards should match what you have, or you should be able to complement that expectation. So if you say to me, Allison, I really want to date a guy who makes at least $100,000 and you make $50,000, then we need to have a conversation. Because how are you going to attract something that is nothing like where you are in your life, or complement it? So I really want a guy who can cook. I can't cook, but I can dust the hell out of somebody's living room and I'm excellent, right? So we need either to have what we say we want from them, and or we need to complement what they are giving us. Because then there's something, I'm glad you asked this. There's something that bothers me amongst women. And trust me, I love women. Trust me, right? Like, women. But something that bothers me about women is that they, many times, some of them, don't come to the realization that they are not the prize. Like, we say that, and I'm the prize, and I'm sure you're the prize. But sometimes for the people that we're going after, we are not the prize. We are not a come up for them. They are not gaining anything from being with us. We are not bringing anything to the table. So we need to come to the realization of, do we either have what we want from them or expect from them, or can we complement what they have to offer us? Because if we are waste men or waste women, right, then how can we have an expectation that we're going to attract a quality man? A quality man going to go to a quality woman. So that's how you're able to do it. Okay. Which 2 paid dating sites do you recommend? So I'm a big fan of Coffee Meets Bagel. And I just did a live stream 2 days ago or 3 days ago with a gentleman, Coach T. Anthony. He has 25 years in the game. His Instagram is @thedatecoach, and you can check it out on my Instagram as well. He highly recommends, he has 25 years in the game, y'all. He highly recommends Bumble. Now, I can tell you that a lot of women don't like Bumble because they're the ones who have to take the take the first step, right? And they're the ones that have to connect with the gentleman before, or the other person before that person connects back to them. However, the benefit is that you get to save yourself a lot of foolishness in your inbox. So if you're one of those people who are really, 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 quote unquote, too busy to date, then Bumble is useful because the only people you'll be matched to are the ones that you were initially interested in. So you don't have to worry about folks reaching out to you. They literally cannot reach out to you. Women are the ones who have to initiate. What should you look for in their profiles? How do you spot a red flag? That's from Brandy. So you're looking in their profiles for things that go against your 5 non-negotiables. So I can't tell you specifically if he says this is a red flag. If she says this is a red flag. The red flag is, does this not align with my non-negotiables? If one of my non-negotiables, and which is mine, is family oriented, right? I have to have children on that. Like, this is just a part of me, right? Like, that's just me. And I want to build a family with someone else, and that person gonna help me raise these kids. Like, it's not gonna be me only, right? And he writes in the profile, wants children. No, that's a red flag for you. Not that that makes him a bad person, that makes him an inappropriate match for you. So the red flags are any time or any indication in the profile or in conversation with them that their lifestyle or their desires or their goals do not align with yours, then that's the red flag. I have a similar question about single moms. Oh, does that mean that I missed the question about single moms beforehand? Okay, I'll try to scroll back up. Is there additional advice you give to single moms? So the advice that I would give to a single mom depends on that mom's situation and what she believes might be problematic for her. So if she is concerned about the safety of her child, let's say she has young children or even a girl child, right? So safety is really on the top of her mind, then that's a different conversation. That advice would be, then we need to vet people for a lot longer than you normally would if it was just your own safety you had to be concerned about. If they're concerned as a mom is that that the ex might get involved and things might become problematic, then we would have conversations about how you're going to appropriately end that relationship with the ex so that you don't have to worry about that kind of clash. So the advice for single moms in regards to dating is really specific. Like, that additional advice is very specific depending on their specific fears or concerns. All right, Evelyn Banks said, which site to use? So I recommend Coffee Meets Bagel because I know lots of people who have found matches and are extremely happy on Coffee Meets Bagel. And then a new recommendation that I received from a colleague is Bumble, because it allows women to do the initial connection. However, it does require a level of confidence from a woman to take that first step, because that's at least social. We haven't been socialized to do that, okay? But the benefit is you don't have a whole bunch of foolishness in your inbox and people wasting your time because you take that first step. Jasmine says, what's a good age to date? I'm 29. Yeah. I mean, let me correct that. If you have a desire to have children, then you should have been dating because you're 29. And as we know, after 35, any pregnancy is considered a geriatric pregnancy. The chances of your eggs being as quality diminish, not significantly though, they like to lie. The medical professionals like to lie, but it does decrease. And then I believe that Down syndrome increases by a percentage. Is it significant? Maybe not, but it does increase. So we would prefer to have children earlier than later. But you're 29, yes, you should be actively dating. What if you cannot afford the apps because of being a single parent? Will your program help single moms? So if you cannot afford the apps because you're a single parent and so you're making a way on your own, then what I would recommend is to not date right now, right? Because again, how are you going to practically and effectively and efficiently find people that are serious if you're not on an app that's serious? So if you're not in a position to afford it now, I would say hold on. I would say wait. I would say, get your finances together, because that's more important than dating anyway, making sure your finances are in order so that you can be able to afford the dating apps. Okay, I'm scrolling back now. I just kind of jumped in and went backwards. Okay, Anastasia asked, how long is my program? So I offer 2 versions. One is an 8-week length program and the other one is 12 weeks. So 2 to 3 months, depending on your desire and how much help you believe and I believe that you may need. So that's something that's decided on the free discovery call to see whether or not we're a good match to work together so that I could become your coach. Oh, Britt Brat says, thank you for everything you've done for us. Well, you're welcome, Britt Brat. And Giselle said, thank you. And Cavani said, thank you. And Febby said, thank you. And Chiquita said, thank you. And oh, y'all decided the thank yous. You are quite welcome. Oh, people said I'm a 10. I'm sorry, I'm going backwards, y'all. Yes, boo to plenty of fish. Boo to plenty of fish. Okay, I think I've covered all of the questions. If you have any additional questions in regards to contacting me, finding out more about the program, then please let me know. I'm just going to keep scrolling just a bit, just in case if I did miss anything. Let me look at another device here because this is my life. Okay, so Evelyn said that you got so much advice. Yay, I'm glad. And you will surely keep in touch. At what point should you go off the app? Okay, Brandy, that's a good question. So when you say, and maybe you should give me a little bit more clarification. When you say, at what point should you go off the app? Are you saying that when you're tired because you haven't found a match? Or do you mean like once you start dating someone, at what point should you delete the app from your phone? So I'm going to answer the second one. So the point in which you should decide to remove the app from your phone is when your partner and you have verbalized, we are now in a committed relationship. When one of you or the two of you or the both of you or somebody and the other one agrees, says, yes, we are in a committed relationship, at that point, the app has to go because the app represents dating. And so if you're in a committed relationship now, you should not be dating anymore. And so that's when the app should be removed from all devices and the other person's device as well, okay? While dating, what are your general rules of thumb to follow? So while you're dating, you should be having plenty of conversations, and a majority of those conversations should not be text messages. In text messages, you lose the opportunity to understand inflection, body language, facial expressions. So one of the rules that I have is that we need to be communicating consistently, and the majority of it shouldn't be text messaging. Also, what's very important is that if you are communicating with this person that you do not know, you're getting to know them, I want to be on the phone with you. I want to be on FaceTime with you because I want to see what's going on in the background. Are there crying babies? Is there somebody calling you babes? Like, I need to know what's going on. So I need to be on the phone, on FaceTime, not only text messaging, because text messaging allows anything to be happening in the stratosphere that I don't know about, and I want to know what's going on. So I'm not investing my time in someone who's trying to waste mine. Okay. How long would you suggest waiting to date after a divorce? So I actually answered this question as well 2 days ago on the live that's on my profile on Instagram. So, wait, I think I answered it yesterday too. So check it out. But nonetheless, the quick answer is there is no hard and fast rule. Some people like to believe that you should, it should take you the half of the amount of time that you were with the person in order to get over them. That's ridiculous. That does not make any sense. Many times in a marriage, the divorce has already happened before the paperwork went through. I don't even mean like the separation. I mean the divorce. Like the relationship is no longer fulfilling or successful for many times years before someone has the balls to actually file the paperwork. So we've been married for 10 years. We've been marriedly happy for 3. So now I got to wait 5. Like, that's ridiculous. You should begin dating when you feel like you are prepared to open yourself up back for love, which I can help you with. But when you feel prepared, that's when you should start dating. If it is 2 months, people are going to judge you. Oh, well, if it's 6 months, if it's a year, if it's whatever it takes for you to feel confident. Now, if you need help to build that confidence, I highly recommend that you find it. Some pro, if it's a therapist, if it's a coach, whatever, because we also don't want to sit in a dark room, naked, rocking back and forth because we're heartbroken for 2 years, right? Wasting the gift that God gave us. So it should be when you're prepared. And if you feel like, man, I should be prepared by now, and I'm not, then you should seek a pro that's going to help to get you out of that funk so that you can feel confident again and feel prepared to date again. I'm almost 50 years old. Do I still date? I have given up hope. Do not give up hope. If you want a long-term partner, there are plenty of amazing people out there who are just like you, who are in their perhaps 40s, 50s, 60s, who would be elated to date you. So it's not about how old you are, it's about your goals and your desires, and then having a targeted plan in order to help you find a mate. Now, the apps that you may use may be different from the ones I recommend. So if you like, you can email me and we can talk about apps that are more appropriate for someone who is a bit older, so that is extremely targeted. I mean, unless you're trying to date, younger guys and that. But if you want to date someone who's closer to your age, then let's talk about that on the side. Email me, info@alignwithallison.com. All right, Key Love said, how did you meet your husband? All right, it's a long story. I'm gonna try to give you the quickest version of the story. In essence, I met my husband when I was 18. We both worked downtown Brooklyn, New York. I worked at a cookie store and he worked at a coffee shop that was right next door to each other. He came over, he saw that I was fly, and he tried to talk to me. And of course, I gave him play and we dated briefly. But this was right when we were both about to go to college, and he was going to California to play ball. And I was staying here in New York City because my mother was not letting me go anywhere. And so we decided that we were going to separate. And it wasn't any beef or problems. It was just like, okay, we kind of just, we didn't really decide. It kind of just like happened over time, and we both just allowed it because we were young and it wasn't a big deal. Anywho, we still remained in contact. Just like, like the happy birthday post on Facebook, like, a like here or there. Maybe we might have gone out like twice over 10 years, just go to this little event here. We went to go see a movie 3 years later. So we relatively just stayed in each other's environment. And then at a point where both of us were single, again, I did my self-reflection. I knew what I wanted in a mate. I had my 5 non-negotiables. And since we both were available, we decided that we would see where it would go. And I did my vetting, and I realized that he met and exceeded everything I was looking for in a mate. And then within 2 years, we were engaged and married. So that's the quick version, okay? What if you're dating someone who seems to not be ready to commit, and every time you leave him, he always comes back into your life? I'm gonna stop there before I even read the next sentence because I'm about to get your whole life together, okay? He always comes back into your life, or you always let him back in? He always comes in, or you let him back in? You can't close the door because you don't want to close the door. You're comfortable with him, perhaps. You don't want to take your chances out on the dating scene, and you are allowing this gentleman to re-enter your life. It is your choice. So if you do not want him anymore, or he is unable to give you what your heart desires, then you need to move on and lock the door. Lock the door. It's your choice. Now I'm gonna read the second part of your question. Even if you broke up with him a million times and he always forgives you? He always forgiving you? What you mean? He don't want to commit to you. He is not prepared. He is unwilling or unable. So it isn't no he's forgiving you for breaking up. He deserves to be broken up with because he cannot fulfill your desires. It doesn't make him a bad person, but you guys are an appropriate match. Girl, you better email me or DM me on Instagram, okay? Okay, my husband's being silly. And I think that is all. I think that's all. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. It has been amazing. And I'm so glad that you guys joined this training. I hope that you guys got some solid nuggets that you can move forward with, that you can use and implement in your life. If you want a professional who's going to be able to step in and, again, gather your whole life, changing your mind frame, changing your thoughts, your opinions, just your view on what this dating scene can be, because it can be fun, it can be re-engaging, and you can find that partner, then I am here to assist. Again, I'm Allison from Align with Allison. I'm a dating and relationship coach. I primarily work with women to help them find the love that they deserve. You can find me on YouTube at Align with Allison, Instagram at Align with Allison, Twitter at Align with Allison. I made a Pinterest at Align with Allison, Clubhouse at Align with Allison, website alignwithallison.com. Please feel free to share this live with anyone, or this live is a live video with anyone who you think would be interested, who could benefit. Share it in your group chat. Y'all could just like fast forward to certain points, like, girl, can you believe she said that? That was ridiculous. Or she be dropping gems, because I sure do. All right. I love